Hello there, commanders, and welcome back to Wargames SUNTZU tournament number 2. We are in the tiebreaker, so third battle of the second semi-final between White Wolves and Geese. It looks like when I was talking about map choices back in the, I think, the first battle of the tournament, I was correct. Yes, Thermopylae is banned as a choice because it is a tiebreaker map, and so this is a tiebreaker. It's 1 versus 1, 1 to 1, obviously. Whoever wins this battle wins the semi-final and advances to final against SUNTZU, a little known team that you may have heard about, and well, you definitely seen our logo about 30 seconds ago. So yeah, if you haven't heard about SUNTZU, you've definitely seen it, unless you have closed your eyes and skipped the first 10 or so seconds, 5 or so seconds of this video. But whatever, jokes aside, the music is very, very serious, so let ourselves also get a little bit more serious. And let's see let us see what both teams are up to. So, Geese is pushing with triple Iberian rebels around the hill, trying to deny the healing zone or maybe get on top of A, depending on what they see. And they should have been spotted by this cavalry, but they shouldn't have spotted the cavalry itself. Oh, now they definitely spot them. The charge against them, and cavalry just walks into that charge. A little bit of mismanagement over there. So, first points, I guess, to the Geese team, but control of the watchtower is taken by White Wolves. Let's see some new names on the Geese team. Yeah. So, they have made some roster changes, maybe as they try to adapt their draft. Speaking of draft, not a single elephant this time. White Wolves still drafting quite as they were before. So they do have triple cavalry, they do have triple archers, and then there's his infantry essentially, with 2 pikes, 1 spear player. As for Geese, they have pikes, not a single elephant this time, and still no cavalry, but this time they have dogs and archers themselves, as they are a little bit in an arch duel, but they are at a disadvantage because White Wolves hold the watchtower. The pressure is roughly equal in the middle, so they can fight each other like that, but the line is slightly pushing towards the red team, so White Wolves can just utilize the fact that they're not in a forest, and in the forest your damage as archers is reduced as well as your range. So yeah, you definitely want to be outside of the forest if possible, unless you can use that as a vision advantage, but not in this case as the watchtower is captured. Now cavalry pushes through around the infantry and finds charge into the archers, welcomed by some friendly fire as the archers now change the target to some infantry next to it. White Wolves are going to contest A, so they're actually winning on both flanks pretty nicely, but they're giving away C for free. C is going to be the first point to be captured, although D is already being flipped. There are 2 units of spears that have just respawned, healed up, rushing towards D, trying to control of it. Archers at this moment should have just suicide and buy the few seconds that they could have bought to contest D before the infantry units make it there. And there are no dead players on the side of the Geese team. Now there is. Now there are 2 players now that the pikes and archers have died. So as long as this point is held, well, archers, I don't recommend spawning into the embrace of cavalry, but the pikes can definitely do that. Well, once pikes do that, archers can follow, and that way they can reinforce point D, because at the moment it isn't looking too well for them. One of these is going to get routed. That leaves only 2. Also, I mean, has been kind of routed from the front, but okay, archers and swords a little bit from the sides as well. Archers have spawned in. The pikemen are about to, most likely. They have died pretty much at the same time, but where are they going to spawn in? Are they going to spawn in here? Are they going to spawn at C? Because E has also already been flipped, and they have units over here, so they fail. They have been pushed out, but they haven't been pushed out, they have just left point E, and White Wolves have capitalized on it. Now they're going to rout this unit. This unit is also soon to follow, despite it having a bit more morale right now, but this isn't going to last for long. A pike unit is going to be denied entry to the point E. It's being put by, that's actually G so they're losing the pike duel because, well, their pikes are shorter. That's about it. That's why pikes are meta, G not necessarily. So E is going to go the way of White Wolves. D is also going the way of White Wolves. They haven't respawned their pikes over here. They have respawned pikes on C, which, well, I think is a mistake. If they have respawned them at D at the same time the archers have respawned in there, those pikes could have made it in time on top of D, especially since the cavalry left and he knew that it left. So yeah, quite a big mistake over there by Geese. The White Wolves have a huge advantage going forward after the first phase of the battle. Usually we see 3 points to 2 being captured after the first phase of the battle, which is more or less first 5 minutes. But in this case we see 4 to 1, and that is a huge advantage for the White Wolves. They have played really well that first phase, given, well, the Geese team have made quite a lot of errors on their own, but, well, we'll see how that continues, if Geese can possibly find a comeback. So what they're doing is sending units towards E. I mean, now, as they control only C, that's the only spawn point they can get, other than obviously the base, but base is so far away. And as White Wolves have retreated to heal up over at D, they have completely abandoned D. So that's not their mistake, which allows Geese to very easily take it back, and they have realized that, have gone for it. So that's now misplay by White Wolves and well played by Geese. So they're just trending good and bad plays back and forth. But overall, now I think the better tactic would be to try to get E back. You have a healing zone position up here. You can attack E downhill from there. You can get your archers positioned here on the cliff. They will be very well positioned under close to no threat and just shoot these spikes. Obviously, White Wolves have some cavalry, so you need to make sure that these archers are protected. Or, well, you don't necessarily actually have to. You can just sacrifice them, and once they die, whatever. As long as they do some damage to the pikes, they have done their job. And after that, they cannot really do much, maybe other than killing dogs. But it's still quite an advantage over here, and White Wolves need to send some reinforcements over to E, or otherwise they will lose it. The pikes have managed to let some Geese infantry through. Now they're correcting their mistake and their position. But that may be a little bit too late, as that is slowly getting surrounded. And ooh, that's a huge damage being dealt to them. They're not being nuked, so that damage wasn't dealt that quickly. That unit maybe is going to get routed. -1 morale, just barely routed. Now cavalry arrives. Is that going to be enough? Possibly. The pikes are still extremely powerful, and as long as they don't rout, even if they're surrounded, they don't care, and they will deal a lot more damage than they receive, which is exactly what we have just seen. Pike's flanks have been disabled over here for some reason. They're trying to get back to the healing zone, maybe, but that healing zone is denied, and they see that. G being used to deny the healing, that's pretty good choice. And since it's hot gates, you can't really outmaneuver them, you can run around. You can stop them maybe here in front and allow the other units to heal back there, but there's no such situation going on. But there is enough reinforcements arriving. Geese attack onto E will fade away. Also, the White Wolves attack on C has been called off, as they have gone back to heal at B and maybe reinforce A a little bit. As Geese is holding Watchtower, and this flank essentially is quite a bit harder to attack because also a narrow passage, just like the hot gates, but it's inside the forest. I mean, yes, you can go around over here. You could do it with cavalry. I think they did that previously, right? And it worked. So there's that, but the Watchtower here and the forest gives you quite a huge advantage. So overall, attacking through the hot gates is usually a better idea. And now, as the Geese have sent their own reinforcements finally from C, took them a while, they are going to take E, as yeah, there are a lot of reinforcements coming in from the White Wolves, but those G have bought enough time to hold them off before they can get on top of E. A is going to be captured now. There we go. Very well played now by the Geese team. Ah, that name. So white wolves, I mean essentially it's again animals versus animals. Wolves against geese. We'll see who wins. So far it's white wolves that are quite convincingly over 700 points ahead. They're contesting C and they have just lost E. D fight is more or less equal. Pike Phalanx is pushing towards A, so they need to respect that. They could use their archers, but archers are occupied with their own archer versus archer duel, which, well, has gone roughly equal, 2 units alive on both sides, with roughly the same amount of total HP. And they could both gone back to heal, and well, that's what the blue archers are doing, that's not what the red archers are doing, and they can bring back a unit as well of their own. There we go, now they're going to retreat. Just, you know, holding that flank as it is beneficial for them. Although again, we are quite early in the battle, although it's almost half the points collected needed to victory by white wolves. If the battle continues as it is right now, even with the point 2, well, the point 2 is not going to be enough to make up the 700 points disadvantage in time, I think. I'm not going to do that math precisely, but I don't think that's going to be enough. But obviously, the point contest is not a sustainable strategy. I have said that multiple times and I'm going to say that again. So, white wolves are under pressure to capture a point, either C, E, or D. So, even though you can say that white wolves are still winning, as it is right now, they're going to lose. So, they need to find a way to capture a point and essentially come back into the battle. Even though it feels strange to call that a comeback, as the points stand right now, they are going to win. So they are contesting E, but E is being contested only by the Hannibal, some dogs that are dying, and some swords that are also dying. Point of pikes is coming in, but it's not going to come in time. And now it's just, if it passes the hot gates line, it's going to just get surrounded and killed. So yeah, I was about to say they wisely stopped, but then they started moving forward. So I don't know about that. Okay, no, they have changed their mind. There we go. They have realized that going forward in this particular case may not be the best of ideas. So 3.3 points per second now, as C contest has been denied. Same with E. Okay, so what can white wolves do to win? Let's look at the situation, right? Because in a neutral state, I guess taking C would be the easiest, but is it actually the case here, given how the units are deployed on the map? They're pushing quite heavily onto D already. They have archers versus archers over here. You do have the watchtower, which gives you quite a big advantage over here. That healing zone is quite easy to deny. They just need to send some cavalry around. And instead they're pushing cavalry against pikes. Yeah, not the best of ideas, but those pikes are getting cut down slowly. Can that player actually heal up in there? Does he have any units? No. The other pike unit is over here at C, and where's the third one? I can't find it. But it's not on this flank. Maybe, oh yeah, okay, now that's the last, no, that's this player. 2 pike players. Yeah, there's only 1 unit of the player alive, and it is somewhere here. Now it has healed. So yeah, D is quite a possibility, but they can still respawn over there. Yeah, you need to send the cavalry, heal the cavalry up. Don't stand AFK, definitely. Heal the cavalry around, you're doing that with the other cavalry, there we go. Go all the way around, deny the healing zone, attack the archers as well, use your own archers, and then you can get D. So that's what they're doing, so that's good. B is being captured though, so at the same time, don't let B get captured, definitely defend it. Dogs are coming in, pikes are coming in as well. This guy has decided to go heal because he knows that the dogs are going to contest it. So that's okay. B contested though means less points per second gained, as long as that unit is alive. It's going quite equal against the dogs, slightly winning now. The handlers are going to factor in though, so we'll see how that fight goes. But there are more reinforcements coming in for the white wolves. They could send the dogs, but actually decide against it. They can send dogs forward here. It should be a very, very powerful fight, because dogs plus pike phalanx is such a powerful combo. They do have the setup for it, but they're not using it. Just send the dogs in. They're not. Okay, if you don't, I will not cover that part of the battle. Fine, I'll go away if you don't want to do a cool thing. Okay, can White Wolves capture D? Definitely can. The units that are here in the area are almost dead. There are some dog handlers coming in and some spears, but that is going to be stopped by cavalry. That is just not fast and powerful enough to do that. Force March Hannibal is coming in. He's quite fast, but he's not fast enough. The point is definitely going to be flipped. It is going to be contested by the spies for a moment, but as it has already been flipped, the healing zone doesn't even need to be denied by the cavalry. It finally arrives in here. Though this one unit has arrived quite a bit earlier. So there we go. White Wolves are going to secure point D anytime soon. Don't worry, that was my chair. Okay, Pike Phalanx here. G Phalanx here to stop the Hannibal from advancing. He's trying to squeeze past. He's going to squeeze past one way or the other. I think it's the first time in this entire tournament we are in the 5th battle covering White Wolves. It's the first time this player has split up. He knows he cannot pull through against Pike Phalanx or G Phalanx in this case. So he spreads out for the first time in forever. And well, they're still fighting more and more. Oh, that was very, very close. Literally last second coming in. But that meant no Pike Phalanx. If that unit was in Pike Phalanx, it would be a very, very powerful move, but then it wouldn't have made it up to the point. Still sending more and more melee units. Can I actually see them? No, they cannot see them because the watchtower is under control of Geese. Now it's going to be flipped as that unit is routed. But it has dealt quite a lot of damage. 1 versus 3. That's Pike Phalanx, right? G Phalanx. Even though it's 1 versus 3, it's still pretty much dealt as much damage. I mean, you killed almost 3 units, right? Now another unit is coming in, flipping that watchtower once again. And another full unit of swords have made it onto D. But all points of Geese are being contested right now. There's a Pike unit in Phalanx inside the point E, but it is quite heavily outnumbered and outmatched, so it is going to die. There we go. E contest is going to drop, but that's still 600 points ahead for White Wolves, and flipping D is definitely a key point. They will need to still capture it. One last unit is going to rout now. So D, there we go, all the progress deleted, and now the progress for capture starts. Cavalry is in there, they can get in, but they don't have any more melee units, so even if the cavalry charged in, it couldn't possibly buy enough time for any melee reinforcements to come in. So D is going to be recaptured by Geese. They definitely could have just not lost in the first place, but that's what happened. I mean, could have they? I think White was actually did a pretty good job at denying the entrance there. Given, well, they were literally seconds away, so that Pike Phalanx didn't go into Pike Phalanx, that was MVP there. But is it going to be enough? 3.3 points per second versus 2.0 now, as no contests are going on. C is close to being contested, but not going to happen. This is a huge infantry force in there controlling the area, not letting anybody remotely close. E, yeah, nobody's pushing in there. There are dogs in there. I mean, dogs could possibly, maybe, I mean, they would need some reinforcements, which are coming. So they're waiting for some reinforcements to arrive to do one organized push. And let's do some math. Can White Wolves still win with their points advantage, given how close it is, and but them losing 1.3 points a second? I don't know. And that's why this battle is 31 minutes 43 seconds long, one of the longest battles I have seen ever, both in matchmaking and tournaments. Well, tournaments battles tend to be long anyway, right, because teams are usually equal in terms of skill, and they are definitely desperately trying to win every single battle, and it's not chill and random like random battles. So I don't know, I will not do that math. I probably should have been able to do that, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to that Geese is in the wing position. I'm going to flip a coin. That's what my guts tell me. And they're contesting A now. Not going to blast for long, as this unit should be surrounded and routed. I mean, if you cannot actually flank them, just flank them from the front with Hannibal Phalanx. Also works, right? So yeah, that contest is going to be lifted, and contest of D is going to be started as the cavalry has run all the way around and attacked it from behind again, but there's no infantry support there. And can they rout this unit? I mean, it's in determination, so they cannot at the moment. Once it unroutes, if let's actually see. I mean, morale 88. What's the morale damage of this unit? Morale damage 56. Divided by half. That's 28. 28 plus 56 doesn't matter because the reinforcements have arrived. Why do I need to do math in the first second? Can we just agree that 3 flank plus a side flank equals a routed unit? It should be that way, but it's not always that way because depending on your morale and morale damage, it's not necessarily. 70 plus 8, so that's 84, and that unit was 86. Yeah, so see, 88. Not enough. Oh, we have a disconnect going on and reconnect. Yeah, so a reflank plus a side flank from those cavalry units is not enough. So haha! Proven by math that it was pointless. Hooray for math. God damn it. It have taken me quite a while, but if I was a good player, I would have known that without having to calculate inside, because I would know every single value of morale damage in the game and also morale of all the targets. At least I would know my maximum possible morale damage, and then knowing that it is 80, what was it, 84 in this case. But I can only route units that are of 84 morale and lower. So I cannot route this because I don't have 2 morale. I cannot route this because it's 87. See? I can't route anything because I'm Chinese cat. Should have switched to barbarian. I don't know. Maybe barbarian have a little bit more. But that's the subject of math, even though I said that this series is going to be more about analysis. So we can do a little bit of math, it's justified. But yeah, now that both D and E are being contested by White Wolves, and C as well, C is actually being captured, as Geese has just fucked off and went to B. Okay, that's, as long as they can actually have something on C, there we go. It is the correct decision. Deny the point gain from B, but can they do it? Like phalanx? They'll sneak past, but just a fraction of the unit. And the other majority is trying to pull through the phalanx. What? I can understand this. I don't understand this. Why have you went straight into white phalanx? That doesn't make any sense. But well, now, as the center of the unit has been switched here, as those guys just died, so more units and more soldiers from this unit are here, this unit have just teleported, and teleports behind you, starts capturing your point. So that's 0 points gained per second for both teams. Literally every single point is contested. So it doesn't really matter who has captured what, it matters who can stop the enemy team from contesting, or the other way around. D is actually almost going to be flipped, as units barely make it in, but dogs have respawned. 2 units of dogs are coming in, units of handlers soon to follow, and as long as they can heal something up in here, they should be fine, and D should not be flipped. But as we are right now, point advantage to White Wolves, but points capture disadvantage. So we'll see how long these teams can actually sustain the internal contest. But in theory, this battle could be infinite. They could still be contesting all the points, right? And battles can last an hour, 2 hours if they want. They can last eternity if all the points are at all times always contested, right? But we are in reality, that's not necessarily going to happen, right? Eventually, some of the contests will drop, like the contest on E that has been dropped. And now this is going to heal up there. A is being captured. There are 2 units in the area, 3 units in the area. One is trying to go to heal, but if it does, they can contest. Is that unit contesting? I don't think so. That unit has been skillfully stopped ahead of the point. Same needs to happen with this. Now they're a little bit pushing through, but it's rank 4 versus rank 2. And it's Hannibal versus Scipio. Scipio not enough, plus Spike Phalanx will just push them out. But by phalanx, that means that unit can make unit in. They need to kill this unit, only 4 soldiers left. The archers are going to do it, even at the cost of friendly fire. But 2 players could just respond. They need to be fast. Kill that unit, just flank it with archers, or kill it with archers. One of the two, just do something. Nope. Just flank it. There we go. I mean, it rushed in the flank itself instead of just staying in. That's a micromanagement mistake. If the archers just flanked in there instead of trying to shoot and kill, at that point it could have been flipped, and then those 2 players would have not respawned in here. So yeah, again, that thing with individual skill and team coordination, right? You need both. You need team coordination to be at the right place at the right time, but you also need individual skill to understand this sort of situation, because team captain is not always able to explain that thing in the middle of a very, very intense battle. So that's where the individual skill kicks in, and for the Geese team it wasn't good enough. At least that's my analysis. Feel free to disagree. But then again, on what grounds am I saying that? Although, on what grounds? I'm in the final. So that's the grounds I'm talking on. Haha. And if any teams wants to prove me wrong, prove that wrong in the final. There we go. That's how internet works, right? And arguments on the internet work. Well, dropping that twisted logic, at least that's what I think. Now, only D is being contested. Close to being flipped, but that's not going to happen. Only 1 unit of infantry plus 2 units of cavalry. Reinforcements are arriving for the Geese team, so that's going to be lifted. But also 2 points per second for White Wolves, who are still 400 points ahead. So as it is right now, even if Geese would have 3.3 points per second, they would still lose. So they need to stop them, stop White Wolves from contesting D, which is exactly what they're doing. Very well, that unit is dead, and D is not contested. But on top of that, they either need to capture a point or at least start contesting. So that's what they're doing. Very nice. They're going. Okay. That was a misplay, but it wouldn't have happened anyway because dogs are in here. But it could have slipped past that hoplite phalanx and gotten on top of B. And instead, you're trying to do that with the other unit. That is arguably faster, so that's sort of good. Now you're trying to look for flank. Yeah, that's not time for looking for flanks. It's time to look for contesting points. That's a big oof. Okay, so White Wolves have wrongly identified that they need to contest E. They don't need to. I mean, that can be their insurance policy, all right? In case something of theirs is contested, but you could just easily prevent B from being contested if you just put pike flanks in here. Okay, you're contesting E, not for long, because you get routed. Now these units need to push through the hot gates. They should have already done that, and start contesting B. You attack from above, from C, or you attack from below, from E. You can advance through the hot gates. You can send 1 unit as an insurance around through the beach. It is going to take quite a while longer because it's a longer route and a slower route because you slow down by shallow water. But still, that gives you another angle of attack, which you definitely need to utilize. Can A be contested? Not really. That's a lot of forces that White Wolves have here. That's why I think Geese should just let go. They definitely realize that they have the watchtower. They see all of that. Well, watchtower is like up to here. I don't know, but they see a lot of it. Plus, they have a unit here that sees it. Now they don't because it's about to die. But they know everything that is here. They should know that there's no way they're going to contest it. Team captain should just say, leave A, let's go B. They only need 1 point to be contested. 3.3 points per second versus 1 point per second would still win them the battle. Even now. But obviously they should have done that earlier, much earlier. So now they're sending units to B. There's nothing from White Wolves that stops them from getting on there, and 3 units should be able to make it and start contesting. Will that be soon enough? And will maybe... Yeah, the cavalry is going into E. If E is contested, you also need to prevent the cavalry from contesting E. You cannot do that because you don't have your own cavalry. Dogs, send the dogs, and that will be able to stop at least 1 cavalry unit. They're also going to charge into C. C is going to be contested. If both C and E is contested, that's over for Geese. And that is what is going to happen. But that cavalry is going to be killed. But 2 units of cavalry are not going to be killed quickly by 1 unit of Sula with proscription like that. So yeah, proscription slows down the combat for both sides, not only for the enemy side. So yeah, once this guy gets in here, I want to see that proscription dropped, because it doesn't make sense to have it on, because you want to kill that guy and not prolong the fight. That fight needs to end, not prolong. And also reinforcements. And you saw that cavalry passing by here. They saw it, they haven't reacted to it. So if they lose, that's on them. That's entirely on them. But I must say, this battle is really, really good, and still anything can happen. If A starts being contested, they're still pushing forwards to A. If they start contesting A, that's 0 points per second for White Wolves. So that still can happen. Question is, will it? They're still trying to go around. They're not sending anything above. The only fasting they really have are dogs. Don't they have any barbarian infantry? I don't think so. Everything is pretty much heavy. Cavalry is also going around to D to prevent D from being captured. I mean, as it is right now, White Wolves win, but they're not taking any chances. They're sending cavalry to every single point they can. One unit over here is this guy's still in proscription. Doesn't make sense at all. So yeah, that's a mistake. If that proscription is dropped, you can actually kill that unit 1v1. With proscription on, well, you still kill it, but it will take much longer time. So yeah, quite a big mistake over there. D, can D be contested? Yep, makes it on top, but is surprise flanked. Not enough though to rout him. That's Caesar, so no routing abilities. 2 more units coming in, so that contest is not going to last for long. But White Wolves are only 20 seconds away from victory. If A is not going to be contested, doesn't look like it. They have stopped. Geese team very frontering, although a few soldiers are on top of it. If these guys die and the center of the unit is shifted towards A, good charge over here. Was it charge? No, it wasn't. Just walking forward. It's because it's Caesar. And there we go. A victory for the White Wolves. But yeah, that battle was the least amount of mistakes and the most amount of good plays. So yeah, that battle was really nice to see. Well played to both teams. And White Wolves are going to face against SUNTZU in the finals. And it's very interesting to see how teams get better and better with every tournament battle they fight, because that is the single best practice you can have. So actually, SUNTZU getting a bye to a semi-final is a disadvantage to SUNTZU, because they had less practice going into the finals. And they had 0 practice going into the semi-finals. They still have 1. So, will that be enough for White Wolves or for SUNTZU to defeat the other? Well, we're about to see, but first let's get into the 3rd place match. Until then, I will see you on Arena's Battlefields, Commanders.